Hello, everybody. It's Steph Norbury here, and under a new guise with the Amusement Network. This is our first issue, and who better to kick off proceedings than my old friend Chris Haley, who's very kindly agreed to be interviewed. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. It's a beautiful sunny day.
Fantastic. So I just really wanted to catch up with you and see how life has been treating you and really what business has been like recently.
And it's certainly been busy with obviously I'm the treasurer of BACTA, so I sit on the management committee of BACTA. So there's been lots of meetings and Zoom meetings and etc. regarding the white paper coming out.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time. In terms of business, it's going really well. We've fully bounced back from COVID. Business is growing. There's been a few acquisitions within Dransfield.
Great.
Reflex have launched a new machine. That's going really well. So yeah, can't complain.
Fantastic. I've got to leap straight into this new acquisition. So what's been going on with that? What have you acquired?
We've acquired a couple of little gaming operators who around this time of year we often get a rash of phone calls of people looking to retire. So it's just something we've been doing for many years, done about 60 acquisitions now over my time there. So it's just smaller operators looking to take retirement.
Brilliant.
And we have a chat.
Great. What a lovely thing. So, I mean, how big does that make you now as a business in terms of geographical spread and employees numbers?
Well, we cover the whole of the UK now, apart from Northern Ireland. So we've got 12 depots throughout the UK. 328 employees, I think we stand at the minute. I think in terms of size, we're the third largest operator now in the UK. Right. So there's Regal inspired in us. Still the largest operator in clubs. So private members clubs, which is always where our original base was. We're still the largest supplier to them. So we've still got really good relationships with all the club associations. And then a couple of years ago, just as we came out of COVID, we started to supply to more of the pub retailers. So I've been picking up business with all the major retailers as well. So yeah, we've had a lot of growth since we came back from COVID, which is excellent. And we bought Reflex Gaming, as you know, in June 2019. So that vertical integration between manufacturing and operating has gone really well, and it's opened up new relationships as well.
Fantastic.
So yeah, can't complain.
No. And you mentioned the white paper. I'm sure you've looked at it far more closely than I have, or any of the other people probably watching this. What are your thoughts? Are there any hidden horrors there or hidden opportunities?
On the whole, I sort of welcomed the white paper. There was nothing in there that was too frightening. A lot of it obviously is aimed around controls and play protection for online, which I welcome. I think that there's been a lack of focus sometimes on play protection in the online space. So I do welcome the changes that are being proposed. I think for the land-based sector, on the whole, it's fairly positive. So in the AGC market, for example, the B3, where at the minute it's an 80-20 rule in terms of ratios, there's a proposal to move that to 50-50. So that will expand the B3 market. Also gives the opportunity to sort of remove machines that are just in there as fillers to create the 80-20. So I think that's positive. Stakes and prizes, well, not specifically mentioned because they are looking at stakes and prizes in the online space. I think there is the potential for doing something in the land-based sector as well. That's certainly something that's been in discussion at BACTA in recent days, and taking forward those discussions with DCMS and the Gambling Commission. That's positive. There's a few things in there which are already in the BACTA Code of Conduct anyway. So in particular, category D's being over 18s only. That's already in the BACTA Code of Conduct. The various challenges around where that means it can be based in the AGC, sorry, in the FEC floor, etc. We don't operate those, so it's not a problem for us particularly. I think Think 21 is becoming Think 25. Well, that's already in the BACTA Code of Conduct as well. So The positives for our business, I see, is the review of technical standards. So just making sure that they're sort of fit for purpose and up to date, and sort of, you know, adjustments can be made to enhance player appeal, etc., whilst maintaining player protections. AV checks and so adult verification checks in pubs and clubs. I think that's going to be more of a focus with local authorities. And we are looking at sort of technological sort of solutions to that.
Yes.
So some kind of capturing your age via your camera and verifying that. And then maybe some kind of intervention by bar staff, etc., if there is a potential problem. So that will be challenging, but we're certainly already on with that, and we're hoping to have something ready within the next few weeks. And then there's cashless. I think there is potential for dialogue with DCMS and government around introducing cashless. Again, that will have to be linked to player protection, but with the GPT app, which Back to help develop, there's already sort of the ability to do something around that to ensure player protection. So yeah, I think there's quite a few positives in the white paper.
Yeah. It certainly seems that way. It seems as though we should be able to have positive communication going forward, you know, over these issues, I think. And that also it's gratifying to see that Back preempted some of these areas and already was working in those directions.
Yeah. And within the white paper, you can see the work that Back has been doing for a few years, because quite a few of the asks that we've been talking about have been included in the white paper. So it shows that the dialogue and the consultations that we've been having over the last few years have been heard, which is good.
Yes, absolutely. And how do you feel about the changes to Back to structure, which has been a lot of work, I know, for everybody involved these last few months? Did you feel it was necessary, and do you feel it will see an improvement for Back to members ultimately?
I certainly think it was necessary. So I'm, as you know, I'm the treasurer of Back to, so I've sat on the management committee for about 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the longest serving members of the management committee. So I've seen the difficulties around the existing structure. It's quite a cumbersome structure in its current form. I think it was sort of designed about 40 years ago, and things have changed an awful lot during that time. So just the number of committees that there were, all the processes that you had to go through to make a decision. I think it's quite clear that we just need to be a bit more fleet of foot.
Yes.
So the review carried out by John Bolland, the Vice President, it did a lot of work, talked to a lot of members, came up with various proposals, and I think that the structure that is proposed now and which we're moving forward with will definitely be positive. It will allow, and as I say, a fleet of foot will be able to make decisions quicker and react quicker.
Yeah.
Whilst maintaining sort of all the benefits to members. And I know most members I've spoken to do see it as a positive.
It's definitely a new era then. And you're finishing now, aren't you? Or it's your final term as treasurer?
Well, John Spiels and Reflex gets ever busier. And I think that as I've been a management committee for 10 years, I think it's time that I did stand down. So within the new structure, there is no need for an honorary treasurer now. There's going to be a finance director. So that gives me the opportunity to step back. I did actually resign in December 2021, but I'm still there. They asked me to stay on until the new structure was in place, which I was willing to do.
Yes.
So I will still be involved in Back to under the new committee structures, but I'm hoping not quite such a sort of prominent or time consuming role. For that, sitting on management committee, you do get a lot of emails, a lot of meetings, and it does take a lot of time.
Yes, I can imagine. But it must also give you, I suppose, an insight into the way that the industry is developing and changing, and the new entrants and those thoughts and priorities of the Back to members.
Absolutely. My involvement with Back to has just been the best networking opportunity, and I get to meet most people, to be at the heart of this decision making. So it's certainly been useful over the years, and in particular, for example, when we had the battle with HM Revenue and Customs over the B3A lottery machine, being involved with Bacta, and I had the support of Bacta. So yeah, I don't regret being involved with Bacta all these years, even though it's been hard work.
Yeah, no,
It's
absolutely.
been fun times as well.
Exactly that, exactly that. Now, Dransfield's definitely flies the flags as an independent part of the UK market, as indeed does Reflex. And I think we all sort of know what we mean by independent there. How important do you think it is to your customers that you do stand alone and that you're completely UK based?
I think it does help. I really do. Certainly in our relationships with clubs, most of these clubs have been around for 50, 100 years kind of thing. Bransfield's been around for 75 years. So we've got some customers that have been with us the whole of that time.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that we are family owned, I think that the fact that we are UK based, we are the last UK manufacturer of analog gaming machines as well. It just means that we can act very quickly when there's changes in the market. We don't have a complicated reporting structure. We're not having to sort of report into overseas boards, etc. So it just means that we can get on with the business without having to be forever consulting.
No, that's a good point.
That
And
diplomatic enough.
that's very diplomatic. A couple of times you mentioned being more fleet of foot. Would I take that to mean that the market is a little bit more volatile, say, so that you have to be adaptable? I mean, we've had a lot of fallout from political and world events in recent years. Do you think that being able to make fast decisions is essential?
I certainly do think that. As an example, when we came out of COVID, we were able to, well, during and after COVID, we were able to adapt our business structures and our practices to be able to get up and running very, very quickly. And certainly the reaction from our customers with the support that we were able to give them during that time as well was very important. We had a lot of appreciation for the work that we did with our customers during COVID. There's been obviously with global events, there's been supply chain sort of challenges, particularly for Reflect. Yeah, that's not easy to say. Supply chain challenges. So certainly for Reflex with sourcing components, etc. But because we were able to reach out and make quick decisions, we were able to sort of mitigate some of those effects.
Yeah, no, wonderful. Chris, it's Bank Holiday Monday. I'm sure you've got better things to do than talk about supply chain issues. I'd like to thank you very much for being our first interviewee for the Amusement Network. You're a superstar. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Steph. It's been a pleasure.